It's a second gear corner, but it's, you know, you go up that little straight probably in fourth gear.
Watch the body language here too, because he's most upset. He suddenly had a look at how bad it is. He said, oh, no, I just didn't need that. Bump back to the rear of the grid, and with a wonderful drive coming up into 8th. Now, this is going to bunch the field up, so this will make it interesting now. Everybody will be re-bunched up for the start. You're right about Longhurst and Bow. They've certainly had their moments through this season.
They've had an ongoing duel, as I said before, and, you know, a couple of times we've seen a bit of contact, but Bowie is probably one of the hardest guys to pass you'd ever find.
Now, looking at the field as you see it, you know all the cars very, very well indeed. Nobody knows them any better. About tyre wear and the hot track, how do you see this at the moment now they're all back and bunched?
It'll make a little bit of difference off the line here, because on a rolling start, when they get a green to have their rolling start, our car, the Nissan, won't have the sort of acceleration or advantage we had off a standing start. So I would think that Bowie's car, if he gets a good run, will be pretty hard to beat to the first corner. And then, you know, as the race goes on, the two most consistent cars in the field now will be the Nissan and the BMW because of the brakes and the tyre wear.
Larry Perkins has certainly really had a big time with the Holden this year, particularly getting the Bob James sponsorship. Obviously gave him more budget to develop the car, but gee, he's a great competitor, isn't he, Larry?
He is. You know, Larry's a very, very good engineer, and he's driving the car as well as anybody else around at the moment. And, you know, you take your hat off to him, because the little bit more budget that he's got at the moment is you know, you're showing the results. And it's the old model car, it's the VL car, so I hope he doesn't get a new one.
Okay, of course, Mark Skaife will be in a general product next year in a Holden, the Nissan GTR having its last race, and I believe one of the cars will be held in a museum, but you're hoping that, well, I guess you're not hoping to see them go, but it looks like they could go over to Asia.
Yeah, it looks like because the regulations over there will continue on in the same vein as we've got now for another year or so, it looks like the cars will be competitive over there still, so there's some people interested in buying them.
Mark, it must be hard for you, because you really developed this motor car. This was your baby, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, you know, we did most of the test driving, but, you know, our team has done such a good job with these cars. They're the best GTRs in the world, and, you know, the results have shown.
See Thomas Bazira there in the dealer car. There's Peter Brock. Rowan Onslow. Gee, it's a good break for him, and it's great to see some of the younger talent like yourself and Rowan getting a chance. Well,
it is, you know, and obviously you've seen, you know, Glenn come through the field so good. He and Tony Longhurst are also, you know, pretty competitive, and they've done a good job all season.
Dick Johnson, by the way, in the Falcon, we really haven't had a chance to have a look at that car. You won't believe how low it is to the ground. Very, very low indeed. I had a look this morning. He's now up to 15th, and he, of course, started alongside Glenn Seaton in the other Falcon from the rear of the grid. So Dick's done a pretty good job. There it is now. This car very, very low to the ground. He's had all sorts of problems. He was led up the wrong path by cams, and I'm told $300,000 really just went out the window to bring the car back to the right specs.
Well, this is his second car now. The first car wasn't eligible, and now this is his second car, and now they're complaining about that too. So, you know, I don't think DJ will be overly happy. You can see there's a bit of panel damage around the front of it. He was caught up in that first lap biff with a few slower cars, and that probably prevented him from coming through the field with Glenn.
When he brought this car to Adelaide here on Thursday, the car had been to Lakeside, done exactly 11 laps in the hands of John Bow, and it was 2.5 days old. So they've done a remarkable job to get it ready and race ready and have it as competitive as it is at the moment.
Well, the paint's pretty fresh, but it's not so fresh now with a few marks in the front of it.
You're looking forward to your Formula Brabham drive here today too. I mean, a wonderful little car. You've got a brand new car. We might just take a moment to talk about that while we're waiting for this race to restart. Shouldn't be long now, the car's off the track. But I know you're pretty excited about the new one you've got.
Yeah, it's a new little Lola, and, you know, it's still under the Winfield banner with their touring car, and, you know, it went very well for its first meeting. This is the first race meeting here, so we'll see what happens.
Mark, you've just come back from overseas. You've had 2 runs in Formula 3000 over there. The result of those?
Well, we probably didn't go as well as we would have liked, Darrell, but, you know, it was one of those things that if we didn't do it, we had a bit of a toe in the water exercise, and if we didn't do it, you never know. And, you know, we'd like to go back next year and do some more racing, but now we know what it takes, and we'd like to go and attack it properly. And
to do that, you need something like a budget of around $2 million Australian dollars.
Yeah, it's a bit of a drink, isn't it?
Amazing money, isn't it? Amazing money. Well, 10 of 20 gone. Pace car should be off shortly. The Seaton car has been cleared. Look out for Dickie Johnson. The panel damage in the front happened early in the race. Larry Perkins will really fire up the Holden. And as Mark has said, if John Bowe can get the start, the rolling start, that the Nissan won't have the acceleration off the line, this could be interesting.
Since the handicapping of the car this year at 1,500 kilos with only 1.3 bar of boost, it's sort of got 100 horsepower less than last year. So off a rolling start, the Sierra would be the fastest car out of those top 4 cars. So if Bowie is organised and gets a good run, if the tyres are still in good order and gets good traction, he's probably pretty hard to beat.
I've got to say this for the fans watching right around Australia. We saw the presentation at Bathurst. Now, I've been walking around the paddock area with you and Jimmy the last couple of days. I cannot believe how many people have come up and patted you on the back and apologised for what happened.
Yeah, well, I think we're pretty lucky to say now that the general motorsport public was on our side. You know, a few of the hoons weren't.
We'll leave it at that. You can see the cars trying to keep their tyres. Well, look at Tony Longhurst is really throwing his car around. Of course, this will give the tyres a rest for the cars that are hard on tyres. And Tony Longhurst is really throwing it around, keeping the heat up. Thomas Mazera and the big Holden in behind him doing exactly the same thing.
Yeah, well, you know, that's a bonus there for John Bowe, probably, because that's the hardest car on tyres. There's the little BMW we're talking about with Paul Morris on board, and it's Jonesy in behind him there.
Yeah, I think we'll hear a lot more about this car in the next couple of months.
Well, Jonesy and Paul Morris have been teammates through the years, so Jonesy will give Paul a bad time for the next few laps.
OK, should be racing. We come round this time. Jimmy Richards in front of Johnny Bowe. Look at Larry Perkins. Gets right in behind them in the Holden. Watch this now. Here we go. Jimmy Richards puts the pedal down straight away. He opens up a little bit of a gap. Johnny Bowe follows him through. Larry Perkins all over the back of him. That's 1, 2 and 3. Then it's Longhurst. Then Mazera. Then Brad Jones.
How smart was Richo then? He held Bowie up so much off the start that the four-wheel drive car bolted. He had about 4 or 5 car lengths before the start line. He did a great job.
He does drive with his head, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's a fairly smart man in a motor car, isn't he? He's obviously now, again, at the start of the race, he's going to put one really good lap together, get a little break, and then try and look after it.
Take us through a lap here. Talk us around a lap.
OK, that's probably 4th gear, down into this sort of fast section before Stag, little break before you kick right, and down out towards the ripple strip on the outside. Pretty important corner this in 2nd gear, good exit, up Jones straight, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, little break, back to 3rd gear and fire it onto the straight here. Well, Longhurst up the inside, good pass, great pass. Tony might still be in a bit of trouble now because he got held up onto the straight, and now the Commodores are going to give him a bad time down the straight here now. There's the HRT car, being passed by 3.
Well, plenty of action here at Adelaide. We'll be back shortly. Stay with us.
Under brakes, but coming out of the slow corner, the car's got such great traction that Richo was sort of able to get away a couple of car lengths. Here's Bowie again.
All over him, Bowe looking, tries to come up and get that run up the inside. He tries now to get the acceleration down. Look at the Nissan GTR, though. The power goes down. See you later, I need a buffer. And he's got it. Now Johnny Bowe comes back under full power as they get to the end of the straight.
I'm surprised that Bowie's being able to stay behind so close, because in these conditions it's very hot and the car must be battling for temperature.
Larry Perkins coming up into 3rd place. There's Tony Longhurst in behind him. They're the top 4 for you. There's nothing much in this so far. OK, now just before we went to the break, we saw a passing move by the 2 dealer Holden cars of Brad Jones and Thomas Mazera. Here it is now. Watch this. The 2 big Holdens side by side. Down the straight they go. They've gone past Perkins and also Longhurst. And this is the shot from Perkins's car. Coming into the braking area now. And that was a big mistake. They both go off.
Well, what really happened there was we're going to have a hit here now.
The General will be all happy about that. A bit more panel damage. Talk about an elbow. A bit of push and shove from the 2 youngsters.
This is a bit of teammate stuff, a bit of Senna and Prost. But what really happened there was Thomas tried to out-brake Brad, and the pair of them were speared off in the braking area.
So here we go, back up the front again. Larry Perkins just shadowing these 2, waiting for a mistake. Jimmy Richards doesn't make many, and so does Johnny Bow doesn't. Have a look at this. This is Alan Jones. AJ gets down and deep in the braking area and throws it around. Now, I've got to say, he hasn't driven a Sierra for 2 years. And